Devin, and today I'm going to be doing a book review. So, I've only ever done one book review on my channel, and that was for Clockwork Princess. It's absolutely terrible. I filmed it a year and a half ago. I'll leave a link in the description if you really want to go check it out. But basically, I just finished this really amazing book, and I wanted to share with you guys what I thought about it. And the book in question is Isla and the Happily Ever After by Stephanie Perkins. I finished this book last night and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna film a book review on it because I have a lot of thoughts about this book. And let me know down below if you want me to do more book reviews like this if you happen to enjoy this one. And shameless self-promo aside, let's get right into the review. So I'm gonna do that thing that a lot of YouTubers do where I do some non-spoilery stuff, then I'm gonna get right into the spoilers because I can't talk about this book without talking about spoilers. So we're going to start with the non-spoiler section. Initial thoughts about this book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I absolutely love this book. There are times where I read contemporaries and I get bored about halfway through and I just fail to see the big picture in contemporaries a lot of the time, whereas fantasy, you know that they have a goal in mind that they want to accomplish. Contemporaries, they don't see a lot of that goal. This one was very, very different. I was hooked the entire time. I loved it so much. This is the 3rd book in the Anna and the French Kiss companion series, consisting of Anna and the French Kiss, Lola and the Boy Next Door, and Isla and the Happily Ever After, and this is my favorite book in all 3. I really liked for this book how we were back in Paris, we were back at soap, we were back in the familiar setting from the first book. I found that I didn't really like the 2nd book as much because it wasn't set in the School of America in Paris, and this was a setting that just brought back all the nostalgia from reading Anna and the French Kiss. Lola was not my favorite book, but you know what? It propelled me into this story and I'm so glad that I read this. This book, what I really liked about it is that we get to know more about Josh, who has been there since Anna and the French Kiss. He was in that book, and you get to know more about him and more about his lifestyle and his relationship with Rashmi. You basically get the backstory of a character that has been there since the beginning and you love so much, and they now get their own spin-off and it's beautiful. So yeah, I don't really think that I can safely say anything else about this book without spoiling people, so I'm gonna say goodbye to the people who do not want to be spoiled about this book. So make sure that you click out right about now and come back once you've read this fantabulous book. I'm gonna give you guys a countdown from 3, 2, 1. So anyways, let's talk about the spoilers. So one of the initial thoughts that I had about this book was that it did not intertwine with the previous 2 books as much as Lola and the Boy Next Door did with Anna and the French Kiss. Like with Lola, Anna and Etienne were very much present in that book. They worked at the same movie theater as Lola. You were talking to them all the time and you got to see their relationship progress, and I loved that about it. In this one, the characters didn't really come back until the end. Like, yes, you heard about them, but you didn't actually get to experience the wonderfulness of all of the characters until the very end. And that kind of made me sad, but it made me really, really happy that they even came in at the end. I liked how they incorporated that. Like, can we talk about Etienne and Anna getting engaged? Like, that made me squeal. I was squealing. I was so happy. Just the fact that these 2 characters have been with us since the first book. They've never really been in the forefront since the first book. They've always been more side characters. But even with them being side characters, you still get to see their relationship progress. Even if it's not explicitly mentioned, like, you know, things are going better and better and better and better, and now they're engaged, and that's beautiful. All I want now is a book about their wedding and their children. I want more Anna and Etienne. Like, Stephanie Perkins, please get on this. Please write another book in this world. Just write about Anna and Etienne if they're gonna live in Paris or if they're gonna live in America. Like, please. I liked how they brought everybody in because of the Olympics. That was very clever, and that's also the only way I think they could have done it to incorporate Calliope and Cricket and Lola. So I think it was a very, very smart choice on Stephanie's part. So you know how you dream cast books in your head? Like, sometimes there's just a description of a character, you immediately picture a certain actor. This happened to me with this book with Anna's best friend Kurt and Josh. Here's the thing, when I started reading this book, I was on a major Gilmore Girls binge, so I could not stop picturing Josh as Milo Ventimiglia who played Jess on Gilmore Girls. Like, I could not stop picturing him as Jess, and just his like rebellious attitude towards the beginning, but the way that he had a soft spot for this one girl, this very like studious, nerdy girl. It's Jess! It's Jess in a book. But then towards the end, because I haven't watched Gilmore Girls in a while, when I picked this up a couple days ago again, I found myself not picturing Milo Ventimiglia, but instead for some reason picturing Josh Hutcherson. Someone fan casted Daniel Sharman as Josh? What? Someone else fan casted Daniel Radcliffe? That would be interesting. But someone fan casted Isla Fisher as Isla, which I'm not gonna lie is exactly who I pictured as Isla, with the red hair and her name being Isla. I always pictured Isla Fisher being Isla in this book. And then I had Milo / Josh Hutcherson, like that's just who I pictured as Josh. But throughout the entire book, I could not stop picturing her best friend Kurt as Sean Gunn, who played Kirk on Gilmore Girls. Like, it just, I could not stop picturing Kirk in my mind. That's just who I imagined to be Kurt. Speaking of characters, I'm just gonna get right into the analysis of some of these characters. So you have the two main characters, which are Josh and Isla. I already loved Josh from Anna and the French Kiss, and this book made me love him even more. I think he's a great character. I think he's well-rounded. He kind of has that, you know, rebel without a cause, but then you find out that it has a cause, and he's a rebel because he made a mistake in moving to Paris and he was too hasty about it, which I loved. I loved how Isla was able to bring that out in Josh and make him realize that, even though people have been telling him that for years. I like how it was Isla that was able to bring him out of that. I did not agree with Josh's decision to give Isla his manuscript over Christmas. If you have full panel pages of you drawing your ex-girlfriend naked and now you're giving it to your present girlfriend, what the hell do you think is going to happen? That was a stupid decision on his part. That is a stupid decision. Don't do that. Like, I get she wants to read it, but you don't want to give it to her when she's already insecure about your relationship. Like, at that point, she was pretty insecure about the relationship. She had not seen Josh in months. She was missing him because he was gone in DC for Thanksgiving, and now you give her your manuscript, which she is not even a part of. Like, tell her about your life, dude. Don't give her a manuscript. Speaking of Isla, oh, Isla. I really liked her at the beginning. I thought she was quirky and cute and funny and nerdy, so that makes her really relatable, but I really didn't like how insecure she was. Like, at the beginning, yeah, she was funny and clever and quirky. Towards the end, she kind of got on my nerves. She was insecure and scared. I don't know, I get that she realized a lot about herself, that she wasn't able to trust herself and she doubted herself, and she had been basically mothering and coddling her younger sister, and I get that she came to that realization, and I'm really glad that she did, because it made me kind of realize, like, hey, that's what I used to do to my sister. I used to mother my sister a lot. But like, I get that she's supposed to realize all these things about herself. I just found that it all came very suddenly. Like, this book moves fast, which is good. You know, all of a sudden, like, she's a great person, she loves herself, she hates herself, she hates herself, she hates herself, she hates all the decisions she's ever made. Like, it's just very, very sudden, and I don't think that, at least for me, it wasn't very clued up that she was going to be that insecure all of a sudden. Like, I think taking it out on Josh and breaking up with him was definitely a stupid decision. Like, I remember reading that part and just going, what are you doing? You are being irrational. You're like drunk or something. What are you doing? You have the guy. Keep him. And I get her whole philosophy of it's better to break your own heart than to have someone else do it for you. But if you don't give someone else the opportunity to, they will never be able to prove to you that they aren't going to do that, like Josh was not able to. So can we talk about the relationship between Isla and her sisters? The relationship with the sisters, you see that Jen and Isla are like good friends and they're sisters and they are girl power and they love each other. But then Hattie is kind of like the younger sister is always left out of things, and Isla mothers her. And I like that Isla was able to realize, like, hey, my younger sister was right. She's doing this for attention, which I think on some level she always knew. She knew that Hattie doesn't do anything just by accident. She always has a purpose, and most of the time it's to get attention, but she never really considered that it was to get attention from her because she wants to have that big sister relationship. And I think that was absolutely adorable when they realized that, and when they had that like sister moment, and you could see that they're starting to bond. And it's going to take some time because Hattie's still very closed off and she doesn't want to just jump in with both feet to be let down. And I think that was a really, really sweet aspect. Like, I like how this book focused on not only Isla and Josh's relationship, but Isla's relationship with Kurt and Isla's relationship with Hattie and just all of these other relationships that I loved. So one thing that I really, really enjoyed about this book is that the other two books in this companion series very much followed a pattern. There was a girl and she slowly fell in love with this guy. In Lola's case, it was very, very slowly. But you know that it's going to follow a very basic pattern of like, girl and boy start being friends. In Lola and Cricket's case, they slowly work up to being friends, but let's imagine that they both are at that point. Like, it's halfway through Lola and her and Cricket are friends, or you start at the beginning of Anna and her and Etienne are friends. You know that they're just gonna like slowly fall in love with the other person, and that's it. Where this one was very up and down. Like, it's Isla so loves Josh, and then she thinks that he thinks she's crazy and she made a fool of herself, but he actually secretly loves her, and he thinks she's with Kurt, so it's like up and down. And then they get together, and that's what surprised me, is that they got together at the very beginning of the book. I'm like, so what now? Is this just gonna be like an entire story of their happiness? Because that'd be cool. It's very up and down, you know, like they're at the most blissful moment, and then Josh gets ripped away from her and taken back to New York, and it's heartbreaking and sad, and then they're together again, but then it falls apart because Josh can't come home for Thanksgiving, but then they're together again, but then they break up, but then they're together. Like, it's a big roller coaster, and that's what I loved about this book, was that it took so many sharp twists and turns where it was kind of like a breath of fresh air after reading the other two books, which were very by the numbers. They were very follow the same pattern. It was very much a straight line, or like a normal story progression where it's just up and down, whereas this one was like, okay. So I feel like I've rambled on about this book enough, but overall I really, really, really enjoyed this book. I highly recommend it. It's my favorite in the companion series, which is interesting because usually the first book is my favorite, but the last book is my favorite this time. I think it has a really interesting plot, and it shows great character development from all of these different characters. I just love it. I have so much love for this book, and I wish that you guys would all pick it up too. So that is all I have for you today. Make sure you comment down below if you thought I did a good job book reviewing, because I'm not very used to it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and make sure you follow me on all of my social media. You got like Pinterest, Goodreads, Tumblr, Spotify, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, all that fun links in the description below. And other than that, I will see you all in my next video. That is all from me and my shelfie.